Hello and welcome back. In this tutorial I'm going to be going over how to create poses now that we have set up our character and are ready to start animating. Now just to review a little bit, we created and modeled and rigged this character in a separate file and brought it into this new empty scene with reference, and then we created a character set on this character using the NURBS curves that are part of the rigging of the model. And if we open up the outliner over here, we can see there's a character there, and we have a few sub-characters just to divide the model into a few pieces. This is optional. It just might help your logic to separate it up this way a little bit. And in there you can see the actual animation curves that are being managed by the character set. So we're going to close that, and if we go back to our main window, we're going to create poses, and a pose is a way for the character to hold its arms to position its limbs that is useful to you as an animator. These might be key breakdown poses in a complex animation, or they might be a useful starting and ending pose that you use to synchronize several animations. Well, I'm going to start by creating our first pose using the character just as it is in this sort of neutral position. And I'm going to do that by first opening the Trax editor by going to Window, Animation, Trax Editor, and you can see it there. And first thing I'm going to do is going to go Create Pose, click on that box there, and I'm going to create a pose called Neutral, just to show our character is standing there and doing nothing in particular. Now, when I did that, that added something to the visor. So I'm going to open up the visor here. The visor just shows a lot of nodes that exist in your scene that don't normally show up in the outliner over here. So just going to click on Character Poses, and that pose we created didn't show up. Let's try that one more time. I'm going to go back to the Trax editor, create pose, and this time it showed up. I'm not sure why it didn't do that the first time, but you can see it is now there under the character poses, and it's being called Neutral 1. Let's create another pose that let's put our character in a little bit more of an interesting position here. So going to move him around, going to move the leg out, turn it a little bit, rotate the neck, and I'm just having fun here, putting him into an interesting pose. It's all part of animation. You can just do whatever you want here, whatever looks good. And don't want him to do anything that looks unnatural, so we have him here sort of waving or sort of looking down to the side, sort of surprised, and we can like modify the fingers too. So we can have like his second and third finger sort of curled down, so maybe he's pointing up. So it sort of like looks like he's talking to someone there. So let's create a second pose there, and let's call that pointing. And you're going to click on Create Pose. And why did that not work? Create Pose. Okay, it worked that time for some reason. I'm not sure why this is happening. When I tried my test runs, it worked the first time. Anyhow, you can now see that we have our second pose up there. And one of the nice things about having poses is that it's now fairly easy to jump between them. So if we go to neutral 1 and go down to apply pose, you can see he snaps back to where he was before. And if we want to go to pointing, we can go there and click apply pose, and he snaps back into that position. So one thing we might want to do is create a third pose. So let's go back to apply pose in neutral position, and let's have him do something different. So let's try moving the leg up. Let's have him like doing sort of like a kicking animation sort of here. So not going to get too complicated. Oops. And I want to move that knee out a little bit. And have him look up. And put the hands back a little bit. So it sort of looks like he's sort of stepping up here. So let's call this pose step up. Okay, that sort of looks like a nice interesting pose. So we're going to go over here, create pose, step up. I'm going to click apply. Okay, now it I think that might be it. If for some reason the create pose button isn't working properly on my machine, so I'm going to click apply from now on. Anyhow, so there we now have our third pose, and let's see, and we can go back to neutral, click apply pose, go back to step up, apply pose. Now he's sort of stepping up and looking up. Go to pointing, apply pose. And this way you can create a library of useful poses. You can use them over and over. You can use them to start and end animations, and you can use them to define key moments in the middle of animations. And it's a really useful way to just organize a set of animations so that they're all based off of the same starting and ending points.